If we live in a patriarchy, why are men held more accountable than women?
Well, because, we're the forefront of things. We're always going to be the forefront of things when we go to war, when we, are the face in the public, presidency and all that, when it comes to status, the highest level of status.
Is that a privilege or is that a responsibility?
I believe it's a responsibility.
Because we're men. Like you said, we do. You said we designed everything, we do everything, so everything comes back on us, the blame.
Is that male privilege or is that male responsibility?
Male responsibility.
So why do so many people think we have male privilege when we actually have responsibilities that women don't?
Damn, I don't know. I'm finna go home and fucking think about it.
You see the difference? Women have privilege. We have responsibilities. Women don't have to be held responsible for anything. A woman can falsely accuse a man of rape and not be held responsible or accountable. She doesn't have to. She can just say, I was just kidding. There was a man in Africa, 17-year-old boy. Didn't even turn into a man yet. And he took his own life because he was falsely accused of rape. And you know what the woman said? I was just kidding. Is she going to be held responsible for what she did? No. No. And now there's a family suffering in pain because their son took his own life. Because he knew his life would be ruined. He knew that the system would fail him. Because it's a believe all woman and not men.
Because that's a good.
Isn't patriarchy just a natural evolution of men and women just giving into their expected roles?
No, because not every woman is reproducing. Not every woman wants to be a woman. Not every woman wants to have kids.
So when I think of a woman that doesn't want kids, she's not doing what God wanted her to do on this earth. You see, when a woman doesn't do what she's naturally put on this earth to do, she becomes a man. Now, a man can come here and be like, okay, I don't want to have kids. That man isn't going to turn into a woman. That man isn't going to turn feminine. But when a woman says, oh, I'm strong and independent. Oh, I could do it all on my own. Oh, I don't want to have kids. Oh, I don't want a family. Oh, I don't want to be married. Oh, I don't want a man to tell me what to do. Oh, I don't want to cook and clean. She becomes a man. Do you see the difference?
Kids. So if you're putting women in this position where it's only put to reproduce, then you're silencing every other voice that we have. We're not only here to reproduce, and men aren't here to be laborers. So when you put it in that way, what are you saying? We're just here to pop out babies?
Well, did I ever say all women are all men? I'm just generalizing and saying.
Yeah, you're generalizing, and that's an issue.
I'd argue that women were involved in some critical inventions. Radiation.
Can you name 5 famous female inventors? I'll give you one, Madame Curie.
That's the one I was thinking of. That's cheating. 5 famous female inventors. I think it is a bit of a numbers game. There aren't as many famous female inventors, historians, mathematicians, any in those powerful roles.
I wonder why. Chat, I wonder why there aren't a lot of famous female inventors. Wonder. You know why? It's not in a woman's biological imperative to want to make something, to want to create. What they're supposed to create it comes from the womb. That's the most beautiful thing they can create. They can help a man create a baby. That is the most beautiful thing a woman can create. Men, we work with our hands. Men, we use our imagination. Men, we think outside of the box. We are the inventors. We are the creators of this whole world that we live in. That's why there's not a lot of women that are, for one, in STEM programs. There's not a lot of women that are in construction. There's not a lot of women architects. That's why. They're not supposed to do that. It's not in their nature to do that. That's not their role. That is a man's role.
Historically, as there were men.
That is correct. In fact, until up until the 70s, until the feminist movement.
So isn't patriarchy just the natural evolution of men and women just giving into their expected roles?
Of course.
What's
So
good,
why
Better
is
Mel
patriarchy
Police?
seen as such a bad thing when women always expected men to provide?
Because they're the devil.
Isn't the idea of patriarchy oppressing women based on a false premise?
Of course.
Isn't the idea of patriarchy oppressing women based on a false premise?
In today's day and age, absolutely.
Okay.
Women's suffrage was 100 years ago.
Okay.
Ooh.
When men were in charge, didn't they still make laws to protect women?
Yes.
If we lived in
And you know what's crazy? The same laws that men created to protect women are now biting us in our behind. You want to know where the whole believe all woman thing came from? Fellas. All of that stuff, yes, it was created by feminists, but we had laws that protected women. That's why when a woman cries grape and she points at that man's going to jail. That was created by us, fellas. The same laws that we put in place to protect women are the same laws that are biting us in our ass.
matriarchy, would women make laws to protect men?
I mean, they should.
Okay, why aren't feminists fighting for those laws right now?
Because feminists are a fucking loud minority.
If we lived in a matriarchy and women had all the power, would they be willing to give it up?
No.
Not at all.
No.
So then why should men?
We shouldn't.
But we are.
We are, but we shouldn't.
Don't women have all the power when it comes to controlling sex, and are they willing to give that up?
I don't even think that's always true, because if you think about it, men are mostly dominant during sex.
That's not what it... Okay, guys. I'm going to rewind this video about 5 seconds back, and I want you to see how she completely... The question just went completely over her head. All right? Here we go.
We shouldn't.
Don't women have all the power when it comes to controlling sex, and are they willing to give that up?
I don't even think that's always true, because if you think about it, men are mostly dominant during sex.
It's not during sex. We're going to go back, and we're going to listen to the question one more time. One more time, guys. One more time.
When it comes to controlling sex, and are they willing to give that up?
Are women willing to give up the power that they have because they can control sex? That is the question.
I don't even think that's always true, because if you think about it, men are mostly dominant during sex.
It's not about a man being dominant during sex. It's about a woman being able to control giving sex to her man. You idiot.
And then
Well, I mean, women have the power to basically...
say if it does or doesn't happen.
Women have the power...
Yes, yes. There you go. Finally.
Basically decide, yeah, if it does or doesn't happen.
That is true. That is very true.
So once again, don't women have all the power when it comes to controlling sex, and are they willing to give that up?
You're kind of right, and I feel like...
You're kind of right. I hate this. I hate when a woman cannot admit that she's wrong. Women hate to be wrong, fellas. They just do. They just hate it. You're kind of right. No, I'm right. It's not kind of. I'm right. You idiot.
I don't know if I can speak for everybody, but if I were to speak for like the majority of women, I would probably say no, honestly.
So then why do women expect men to give up all the power that they've earned?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. That's a very good question.
At this point, I'm like, just give me my mic back, bro. Just give me my mic. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone.